Well, looks like you had some luck.
Well, I got a few to tangle. That's quite a fancy getup you got there, fella.
Yeah, well, I doubt I can keep up with your old cane and expertise.
Oh, don't take much know-how here on the old railroad pier. This place is pretty well stacked with meat all times of the year. Fishing got so good, they put up an ice house down at the foot of the pier. Mighty convenient.
Someone had a big fight on their hands.
Oh, George caught that today.
Is that a sawfish? That's a rare catch.
Rare? Huh. Why, we get 'em all the time. Fella up at the Indian River got 300 in his net a few months back. Whole state's crowded with them saw critters.
Well, the late 1890s was an amazing place.
Oh, you should have seen the fishing out here back when they first let hook and line folks out here, back in '89. No, I can't complain though, except for the noise from all those blasted railroad cars.
That's a bit disruptive.
I sure will be glad when they get the Brantley Pier refurbished. They say it's going to be all electric. They'll have a trolley go all the way out to the end of the pier. And that makes me smile ear to ear when I think of all the fish I can haul back on that.
What if you could drift back, find the water's edge of a time when the rough boundaries of Tampa Bay had barely been etched on the parchment of an ancient map? What if you could navigate the churning of progress in this wilderness dominated by the bay's rich, bountiful waters, from the lives of the once great coastal Indian tribes to the first humble settlements in Tampa of Cuban fishermen along Spanish Town Creek? But surely time has long since blurred, erased, and changed dramatically this terrain's early waterways and landscapes forever. Or has it? Can we still find passage back to who we were as we discover the secrets of the bay?
The Average Angler.
For most folks that have called St. Petersburg their home throughout the years, as well as the many visitors from all over the world, the pier has been a popular attraction and easily recognizable landmark in Tampa Bay. But in its early years, this iconic symbol of leisure and recreation went through a number of transformations. In fact, during the late 1800s, more than one pier jutted out from the city shoreline. The railroad pier, built by the Orange Belt Railway in 1889, was the first substantial pier to jut out into the bay's briny waters, and though initially was privately owned, it soon became a huge draw for locals and tourists. Fishing was obviously a favorite pastime on the new pier, and more than one epic battle with monstrous fish happened here. This in part spurred a flurry of activity to populate St. Pete's waterfront with other piers of various lengths and objectives. To learn more about these early structures, I met with St. Petersburg Museum of History's Nevin Sittler.
This first picture was, I'm going to say around 1890, 1891.
The railroad pier was completed in 1889, so this is a shot just about the opening time frame of that. So 1890s when the shot was taken. It's quite a scenic shot there of these folks fishing in their fine Florida attire in 1890, huh?
Yeah, they look a little bit overdressed,
Yes,
except for
do.
those cool days.
Yes, they do.
Maybe it was a cool day on that day, but I am noticing this guy's got quite a catch.
Yeah, he does. Fishing is an extremely popular activity still to this day on the pier.
Mm-hmm. He's got, looked to me like mostly Spanish mackerel that he has there, which is a fish that a lot of people target from piers. The railroad pier
Yes.
is not positioned where the current pier is
That's
right
correct.
now.
About 6-7 blocks south.
To the right.
That's correct. This is part of the contract that Peter Demons had with John Williams, constructing the pier, constructing the railroad actually in the area. And the railroad terminus had to come out to a pier, and a pier, of course, jutting out into the waterway, large enough to accommodate boats and vessels that come in. It'd be current Demon's Landing.
Straight out from Demon's Landing,
Pretty much
between
straight
the
out.
two rock jetties.
You've been poking around yourself. Got a historian in the making.
Nevin, we've walked into the 1900s.
Yes, we have.
And tell me, right away I can see a little bit of a change right here. This wasn't in the 1890s.
This came a little bit later, and it's actually a toboggan. It's a place for people to sunbathe. Of course, you got to think it's more modest time, but people would sunbathe. And there was also a toboggan slide on the back side of this particular structure where the kids would be able to slide out into the water. So this is kind of the beginning of utilizing the waterfront as more of a swimming leisurely, instead of just commerce and fishing.
It started off with more of the industry with
Yes,
the railroad.
absolutely.
And now it's starting to you're starting to see a little bit of a change.
I think you're starting to see some more activity, especially when you're embracing the activities and pleasure on water.
Now, the railroad track here looks a little different here, or are we looking at a different part of it?
It's 6 years later, you're just looking at a different part of it, but what you are seeing is essentially, or pretty much exactly what Williams had in mind, John Williams, was to have it deep enough to be able to dock such a large crowd. I mean, it's a paddle boat, you see a number of passengers. They look pretty well to do as well.
Nevin, things have changed in the 1910s, and
Yes.
the biggest change is that the pier that we knew in front of Demon's
It's not
Landing,
by itself anymore, is it?
there's another one.
Absolutely. Actually, two more coming along.
Now, is this the one that we know of as being?
Not yet. We're on our way. We're moving closer and closer to what we consider 2nd Avenue Northeast, or the Municipal Pier now. This structure here, you see it's the electric pier. It's a couple blocks north of where Demon's Landing would be, or the railroad pier. Now you got to consider over time a lot of these have changed names, as the railroad line might have changed name, or ownership of the piers might have changed names. But this one's particularly interesting because it denotes an electrical service system going along the pier. So you've got trolleys, and passengers now are moving in and out of the city onto the piers.
Now, was this pier specifically for leisure?
No, I don't think any of them were designed until we started getting into the Municipal Pier, and especially the 1926 pier, that most of them still are based on commerce. Except for this particular one. It was Tomlinson's Pier. A few years after Tomlinson erected the pier, he and his father created an outhouse, or an outbuilding at the end of the pier, and they had tapped into the ground, hit a well water, and they piped the well. So they'd used that for a couple years. A few years later, when the shot is taken around 1910, a doctor came to town, he was retiring, he decided to create an attraction of his own. And so he used that piped in water, piped it onto the land, and had this fountain of youth. Very Ponce de Leon, fable-ish, if you will. So after a few years of using the fountain of youth, folks would come from around the city with their buckets and their cups and glasses and collect the water. Well, many years later, after they had moved the fountain of youth several times, they'd actually tested the water and it had some of the highest levels of lithium in the state of Florida. So indeed, it was a fountain of youth, lithium being used as a curative for depression. So kind of a fun little piece of history that I don't think a lot of people know about.
Well, when you say that this Tomlinson's Pier, are we talking about another pier?
Yes.
Besides the electric
Indeed.
pier?
Now we got 3.
Coming up, we continue our travels through St. Pete Pier history and wrangle with a few present-day convict fish along the way.
As you may have noticed in one of the shots previously, the favorite line steamer companies in full action in this shot right here. So you got the 1913s, we're coming into the 1920s when yet another pier pops up. So we've got the fishing pier now, designed just for recreation. So the city of St. Pete's now booming in as a recreational hub. So you've got this great transportation system going on, you've got activities going on, you've got the toboggan slides we talked about, but now we're roughly sticking out with 4 piers out into the waterways. This is used as a municipal pier, if you will, for recreation, but then the devastating hurricane in 1921.
Yeah, up here, that looks pretty bad.
It kind of changes everything, it changes the outlook, and it was actually the impetus for the preservation of the park systems here in St. Petersburg. As the destruction and the debris was cleaned up from all the damage, you'll note in that image there are 2 different piers, maybe even a 3rd pier in that shot. It's kind of difficult to tell the perspective on it, but in the background of it, most notably, is what becomes known as the Municipal Pier.
We actually see a little bit of what I can recognize now.
Yes. Matter of
The
fact,
precursor to the pier we have
almost
now.
all of the structure of the pier that you see out there is what you can see out there today. But more importantly, what happened was this unification of one pier, a municipal pier for everybody, And aptly named, it's called the $1 Million Pier. The city, they floated bonds, raised money, and they raised $1 million and constructed this Mediterranean revival style building. And it's a gorgeous building. It's definitely lauded as one of the icons of the time frame, without a question.
It looks like a big building.
It's huge. It was a very large structure. It had all kinds of activities going on it. It was called the Municipal Pier and or the $1 Million Pier and Casino. Now, it wasn't a casino where I go lose rent money. It was a casino where you danced. Dancing is another activity within the casino. But the dance floor was on the top floor of the structure and originally had no roof. So when the humidity would come in or a little squall, that floor became very slippery because it was terrazzo flooring. So activities abound in this particular structure.
Today, there is still plenty to do at the pier for folks of all ages, including my favorite pastime of the hook and line kind. Recently, I asked a fellow angler and friend, Chris Green, to team up with me to do some sheep's head fishing around the pier. It was late winter, and my favorite stalking grounds for them was Demon's Landing. Unfortunately, the bite was way off, and we found ourselves wandering around quite a bit. Heading towards the pier, I knew we were probably passing over remnants of the old railroad structure. But right now, I was focused on the convict fish. Striking out at the pier, we wound up in the Vinoy Basin, where after hitting a few pilings, we finally got the sheepers to play.
See that? See that? Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Well, that's a nice one there.
Look at that one. Holy mackerel. Get him up. Get it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That is a good sheep's head there.
17 inches.
17.
Good fish.
Good fat fish. Look at that. Probably feeding a lot on these barnacles here. It's good sized barnacles. Look at that belly.
Now, this must have been one epic battle back then. But after the break, I hit the pier at night, hoping to hook some giants from the cephalopod family.
Nevin,
Yes, sir.
the end
For this one, at least.
of an era.
Definitely of an era.
So why did it come to that?
Well, ran 4 decades, had a good life. A lot of activities went on. The city deemed, and I guess, of course, engineering research said that it needed to come down, structural issues with it. And it wasn't the whole pier itself, it was actually just the physical building sitting on top of it. And so it's the pier itself that now we're facing with having to be demolished for safety reasons.
Well, in this instance here, it was a time period where they wanted change.
Absolutely. It's 1967 when this demolition shot was taken. Right at that time frame, you've got an age identity, a crisis here in St. Pete, if you will. We've got our retirement community, the age bracket has just skyrocketed, and folks wanted to run toward the
future.
The future, exactly.
Who came up with the idea for the inverted pyramid?
Well, I'm not familiar with the architect's name. I know the selection was made in about 1971 for that design. As I discussed earlier, the structure was actually, or the pier head was empty from late 1967 until 71 when the construction began. When it opened up in 1973, great fanfare, of course, and it had this unique laser light show that apparently only worked on one day of testing and has never worked since. So it seems almost that maybe the inverted pyramid started off with a bang, if you will.
Yeah.
But this structure definitely was considered new age and was going to be that icon. And for you and a lot of others, it is an icon.
Certainly. It seems like each generation has their own.
That's
pier
exactly how
rendition,
it's seeming. It seems about every 40 years it's going to be a replacement. And it probably is very difficult to house a structure on the water, salt waters, the winds and whatnot.
Yep. We're coming into a new age for it.
We are.
The future of a new pier.
Absolutely. There's been several designs that were submitted. Like it or loathe the design, that's a personal opinion. But at least the city has the foresight to actually have a plan in place of what's going to replace the inverted pyramid. Whereas I mentioned 67 to 71, you had nothing out there. So at least we can move forward with whatever design is chosen and go forward and create our next piece of history.
But one mainstay throughout all the pier's transformations has been visiting folks' desire to wet a line. And though catches nowadays may not be as dramatic as they once were there, I found out one chilly night in late winter they can definitely be odd and surprising. When the water temp gets below 70, a few smart anglers in the squid loop know it's time to hit the pier to try their luck at catching these invading creatures of the cephalopod family. Good friend Andy Hillman from Holy Mackerel Tackle showed me the special lure needed to hook a squid.
This is something that you use, and it works very well. I guess their tentacles get stuck on. Ooh, that's pretty sharp. Get stuck on this.
Yep.
So this goes
They'll
straight
grab
down.
onto it. Actually, if you see the little feathers here, this kind of what it does is instead of having the bait, since the weight's at the back end, the bait will actually sink
Go
like
like
this,
that.
and the feathers will pull down, so it has more of a swimming action, helps it suspend a little better.
Squid grabbing the whole thing.
I think they just grab it wherever, and when you jig it up, they're locked in.
I'm sure though some of the old anglers did a little bit of this for bait or for calamari.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But how long have you been doing it?
This probably be my 3rd year doing it.
Now, when you bring them up, what happens next? Do you pull them off? Do you get the pliers and pull them off? How do you get them off?
You got to watch out because they spray their ink, and they
Yeah.
can get you. If you'll notice along the wall here, there's ink splatters everywhere.
Yeah.
Usually we'll drop them onto the ground, and when they hit the ground, they'll usually discharge their ink, and all we do is we pick up the line or pick up the back end of the squid jig and just shake them off into the bucket.
Do they have a beak like an
They do,
octopus? So you
yes.
got to watch out for that.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with it.
Have you ever grabbed one though? I don't think.
You can grab. I mean, it's not like they can reach around. You know, they're pretty much they propel themselves through the water by pushing water through their bodies. So
Have you ever got a big one where they tried to grab you with the tentacles and you had to get help from the security guard?
One time.
It looked like a squid-type night as anglers all around had the bite going on. An interesting phenomenon happened with this fellow who caught a squid that seemed to mimic his orange sweater vest. I tried to mimic what Andy was doing in hopes of catching one of these amazing translucent creatures myself.
Got one?
Yep. I knew I was going to get one as soon as we got here. He's coming. He's coming. Look at that. The biggest one of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Success. Look at that, folks. Beautiful. Yeah. Look at that squid. That's a pretty good size, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah, that's a good size one.
Yeah. He's not squirting me.
Put up a good fight, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty good fight.
The last thing you need to know if you're out to do a little squidding is how to clean them, which I was happy to let Andy demonstrate.
All you're gonna do is you're gonna run your finger inside and you're gonna wiggle it around. You're gonna try and break free all of this, their insides. All right, so now it's hollow on the inside now, and then there's a little piece of cartilage in here. You're just gonna pull that out. See that? And then I'll just wipe the skin off them. And then once you get the skin removed, I just take them home, rinse it down with clean water, cut it into small circles like you would have at any restaurant. I usually remove the fins too. I don't usually take the wings because they're a little tougher than the rest of the squid. But as you can see, aside from my dirty hands, it's nice white, clear calamari.
Though it's a bit messy to say the least, squid fishing is a nice change of pace and definitely a lot of fun.
I'm going to call Andy and Kyle and the rest of them, I'm going to call them the Squid Men. They're a rare breed, a weird kind of breed.
Oh.
Elizabeth Colley's first flounder caught in Fort DeSoto leads off this week's email bucket. Next is Dane Jones with his first fish caught in Ocoee with his Mimi and Papa. Paul Evanco ends us out with a nice bass he caught working the shoreline in Lake Mary. Co-producer JK showed me a satellite image of Demon's Landing that really intrigued me. A dark spot, perhaps rubble from the railroad pier at the seawall edge that we believed lined up with 1st Avenue South and old tracks I had come across by Tropicana Field. With our underwater gear, we got shots of structure down below. JK even found an old track rail. Could this have been part of St. Pete's original pier?
So you finally found her, huh? Doesn't look like much now.
Well, the 21 Hurricane and plain old progress saw to that.
Just as well she stays hidden. Fewer fishermen find her tracks, it means the more fish for you, young man. Here's another tip. Switch to a cane pole. Less complicated. That sure is one strange looking structure.